From CBS News Bay Area, this is the Evening Edition.
Crews out in the East Bay trying to get control of a brush fire near 580 this afternoon on a busy holiday travel weekend.
And could this be the last summer tourists pour into Alcatraz? Don Lynn tags along with a family who liked the idea of turning it into a prison until they actually saw it.
And it's party time as the streets come alive this weekend with the sounds of Carnival. We'll have the sights and sounds on this Memorial Day weekend. Thanks for joining us. I'm Brian Hackney.
And I'm Andrea Nakano. Another blaze on the Altamont Pass right on the heels of a 260-acre fire on Thursday that shut down 580 between Tracy and Livermore. And here's a look at the smoke in the area. All lanes of 580 eastbound are now open, but CHP warns drivers to proceed with caution.
We are also following a boat rescue near Crissy Field this afternoon, where 9 people aboard the Sea Scout ship Viking when it began to sink. They were holding on to the side of the boat when the San Francisco Fire Department arrived. All 9 on board were wearing life jackets. Fire crew got the boat afloat and then had it towed to Aquatic Pier. The sailors were part of the sailing club for high school girls, and they're all okay.
Meantime, Memorial Day weekend draws tourists in from all over the country, and a popular destination is Alcatraz for now.
But that could change if President Trump gets his way and converts Alcatraz back to a prison. Something some of his supporters have actually gotten behind until they find the attraction not so attractive. Don Lynn's got that story.
Alcatraz is a huge moneymaker for the feds, and there's so many people in town for the holiday weekend. All Alcatraz tours are sold out until Tuesday. So I asked people how they would feel if they turned this moneymaker back into a prison. The National Park Service reports roughly 1.6 million people visit Alcatraz each year.
We're just excited to see the history of the island.
Infamy, isolation, and stories of escape from one of America's most secure prisons have made Alcatraz a tourist hotspot and a favorite Hollywood backdrop. Now, a new plot twist. President Trump wants to turn it back into a federal prison.
If it could be utilized again, it might be a good idea, maybe.
Shannon Hari and her family made their first visit to the Rock on Saturday.
It looks like where you get your stuff. You get, like when you check in as an inmate, you get your clothes, your brush.
It didn't take long for them to see why many local and state officials are skeptical of the president's plan.
Now that you see this, there's no chance. I mean, it costs so much money.
Cost was exactly why the government shut down Alcatraz in 1963. Operating it was 3 times more expensive than a standard prison.
I was like, oh, that's an interesting thought. Sounds like people are separated, keeps us safe, that piece. But and when you kind of dig in and hear about the cost and see it, how much work it would be, again, it's big, but the amount of cells is not that many. I wouldn't see the cost benefit in doing that.
The National Park Service says Alcatraz brings in around $60 million a year in tourism revenue. Shannon's husband Charlie says taking it away from visitors could hurt the local economy.
I thought it sounded like a pretty neat idea. Since being here, I don't know that it's feasible, but I kind of would still be for it just for the content of it, to be honest. Like, I think it'd be a great story. I think it'd be interesting to see how it all plays out.
They don't think it'll happen, but they're glad to have seen it in person and form their own opinions.
It makes more sense to make money than spend money on this, especially because you could do this somewhere else.
No one knows exactly how much it would cost to turn this back into an operating prison, but safe to assume it would be tens of millions of dollars. Prison officials say they do plan to return in the near future for another site visit.
Well, it's that time of year again. Thousands of people out in San Francisco today celebrating the legacy of African, Caribbean, and Latin American cultures at Carnival. This was the Mission District on Harrison Street. Festival goers got to watch a number of different performances happening at different stages throughout. One group from Santa Clara University was dancing in the streets, and one of them said she couldn't believe she was actually doing it.
It's honestly a dream. I grew up here in SF. I've come here a couple times with my family, so it was really cool we got this opportunity, and we're just really excited for everyone to see us perform.
Carnival celebrations continue tomorrow with the Grand Parade. Starts at 10 in the morning at 24th and Bryant Street.
Well, that's not the only big party in town this weekend. Bottle Rock returns to Napa with tens of thousands of fans expected at this year's festival. One couple we spoke to say it's an event they come back to year after year.
It's kind of a retreat for us. Kiddos are at home with grandma. We started coming in 2013 or 14, so we've used it as just kind of a place for us to go.
Thank goodness for grandmas, and there are some big names in this year's lineup, including Justin Timberlake and Benson Boone, who play tonight.
In San Bruno, thousands of scouts were at Golden Gate National Cemetery this afternoon ahead of Memorial Day, paying their respects to troops who died on the battlefield. Kids laid out nearly 50,000 American flags. The scouts, of course, say they are honored to be doing it.
A fundamental aspect of scouting is civic education and civic awareness and teaching these young people about what past generations have done in service to the country is a really important part of what we do in our program.
Golden Gate National Cemetery is the final resting place of 15 Medal of Honor recipients.
When the Marin County town of Mill Valley hosts its Memorial Day parade on Monday, it will feature a familiar locomotive from days gone by.
A century ago, train engine that once took visitors to the top of Mount Tam has made its return and is looking like the day it rolled into town for the first time. John Ramos has got that story.
It's been 100 years since engine number 9 began rumbling through the town of Mill Valley, but now it's back in all its glory, with a legacy of having turned a logging locomotive into one of the most popular tourist attractions of its day. It was homecoming day at the Mill Valley Depot Plaza. Old number 9 was back.
So it's 12 o'clock, it is time to ring the bell. And the trick is you got to pull it and do around the world with it, okay? Before it left the station, the bell would ring, and so everybody knew in the surrounding area, all right, this train is leaving, and get on board.
The powerful steam engine began running in 1924, carrying passengers up Mount Tam for dinner at the top and spectacular views all the way up. Once there, passengers had a choice to take the train back down or ride the so-called gravity cars to the bottom. They never got over 12 miles per hour, but the sheer cliffs made for a thrilling journey. It operated until 1950 when a fire destroyed the Tavern Hotel on top, leaving the owners $40,000 in debt. So they sold number 9 to a logging company near Eureka.
This was the newest thing that they had, so they sold this quickly to make some money to pay the bills and get back in the black for 1924.
When it was finally retired, the locomotive ended up on display in the small town of Scotia, where it sat for decades, rusting away. Then, in 2018, a Mill Valley group called Friends of Number 9 bought it at auction, and for the past 7 years, they've been raising $500,000, while a pair of retired metal workers, named the Melrick brothers, brought the old engine back to life. Now, it's been lovingly restored to the condition it was when it was 6 months old.
A lot of this is original. These gauges are original. We found this gauge. This is worth $10,000 right there.
And the technology was state-of-the-art at the time. This tank on top held sand that could be sprayed onto the track if the wheels should lose traction. And it converted fairly early from wood and coal to bunker oil, so it wouldn't send embers up that could start a forest fire.
The railroad actually had ice cream in the early days of refrigeration, and that was a big deal. Talk about the, and then people talked about it today as being the Disneyland of its day.
Today, the engine is a memory from the past, but its future is uncertain. There isn't another one like this in this kind of condition in the world, but they don't really have a place to put it where it won't start decaying again. So the search continues, but Larry Lotzker knows where he wants to see it.
I say it's going to end up here. Personally, I'd like to have it be on the plaza where it lived. It all goes back to the mountain for me. So Mount Tam Muir Woods Railway celebrates one of the most beautiful places in the world. And this just reminds everyone.
Engine number 9 began as transportation, became a worldwide tourist attraction, and is now a cherished history lesson. It's been a long journey, 101 years in the making.
Too good. Let's find a home for that thing at the base of Mount Tam if we can. All right, look at the forecast for tomorrow. Carnival, it's going to be beautiful. Yeah, I'll have a little bit of marine layer. It'll be in the mid to upper 50s. It's exactly what Carnival always is. Look at the rest of the bay. The marine layer is back. In case you didn't notice it today, we are waking up to May gray tomorrow. We'll talk about what impact this has on the next 2 days of your holiday weekend. See what the forecast coming up after the break. Well, with so much going on this weekend, let's get you ready. I think a good way to gauge this is, what was it like in your part of the bay today? That's exactly what it's going to be like for the next 2 days. There are some subtle differences over the weekend, particularly on Monday, the holiday proper. And there are mid-90s showing up at the end of this forecast. So stick around for the 7-day, because it could be some of the warmest numbers that we've seen so far yet of the season, but that's not getting here till the end of the forecast. We were talking about Carnival a moment ago. Of course, mid-50s and a bit of marine layer. Look what you're going to be doing inland for the rest of your holiday. Monday gets a little warmer, if you notice. Usually go from the mid-70s tomorrow to the upper 70s on Monday. Let's come back to the virtual map. I want to show you what we're doing today, because it is very much a classic summer pattern that is now set up for us. We look at the temperature profile across the bay, and when we put the numbers on here, have a little bit of fun with that line, which takes us from the coast here all the way inland out there to Antioch, which was on the verge of getting to 80 today, 56 in Pacifica, subtly warmer than that in the city. You go across the bay, you warm up a little bit, but not much for Oakland. And then as soon as you get over the East Bay Hills, you take a 12-degree jump to get to Concord. And then Antioch sitting on the verge of 80 degrees out here today for the daytime high. So kind of an interesting setup. Let's see what it looks like for tomorrow. We'll clear out today's numbers, and we will take a look at tomorrow. And there are some subtle differences here, but nothing major. And since we just looked at a very specific row of cities, let's get everybody on. This is your Sunday. But there's some other elements to Sunday besides the temperatures, which really aren't budging much from where you just were. So let me show you what the marine layer is going to look like as that builds in. We'll take that first off. When we look at the high-resolution satellite, it's already out here. So that's it, just kind of hugging the coast. And you can follow that all the way down the San Mateo County coastline. They're pretty socked in at this point. This is live satellite, and you can see where the marine layer is now. So where's it going next? Well, let's animate that, and we'll take that from now through tomorrow morning, and we'll watch the marine layer build back in tonight, and it's going to do very similar to what it did today, only it's going to get a bit farther inland. So tomorrow morning, this is about 7 a.m., we'll all wake up, for the most part, to the marine layer gray. And then it'll melt back by the time we get into the early afternoon. It'll be more sunshine than anything else. But for that west side of the city and for the peninsula, it likely will continue to stay somewhat gray and marine layery throughout much of the day. All right, let's check out that 7-day forecast. I can show you that warm-up coming our way. Inland microclimates, look what shows up here. And now as we get towards next weekend. So there's really going to be a pop in the numbers here. 90 generally for inland, but some locations inland could go up a little higher than that and get up to the mid-90s. Won't be that warm in the bay, obviously. So as we look at our forecast for the bay, and you can see how that temperature trend will play out by Friday.
This time next week, golfers at the U.S. Women's Open will know if they made the cut line or not. And one local high schooler is hoping she'll be able to tee it up.
18-year-old Sarah Lim has only played golf for 6 years.
Like that feeling of accomplishment when you know you played well or you hit a good shot or you executed how you wanted to, like I think that's always been something like so gratifying to me.
Despite only picking up the club for the first time when she was 12, she has her eyes set on one of golf's most prestigious events.
It hasn't even hit really until I maybe get there, so I think just walking into the U.S. Open, I'm just gonna be wide-eyed.
The Saratoga High School senior qualified for the Women's U.S. Open, finishing in a tie for first place at a qualifier at the Olympic Club.
Knowing that I am playing my best, I am capable of doing such great things, I think 12-year-old me would definitely feel very encouraged, very proud.
It's a tiny bit against the grain, right?
When Sarah travels to the major, her dad, James, will be on the bag as her caddy.
It's a major, it's a professional event, and so super, super proud of it.
It's really special. You know, he's been like on my golf journey since the beginning. He's with me on the range. He's the person I text if I'm like really need some desperate help.
James wasn't surprised that Sarah had success so quickly.
I remember the first pro lesson that we went to when she first started, he was like, I don't believe that you've never actually picked up a club before.
While she might be one of the newest and youngest golfers at Erin Hills, she's ready to give it her all.
I want to make the cut, want to hopefully make low-am, but it's my first US Open, but I feel like that means I will be back, and hopefully.
What's amazing about the fact that she qualified for the US Open, she's only 18, but she's only been playing since she was 12. 6 years is really not a lot of time.
That's extraordinary.
She's a natural.
Awesome.
Natural.
Yeah, she's
All
great.
right.
Well,
thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt, and we'll be right back.
Now you can get your KPIX news, weather, and live stream all in one place on the CBS News app. Download it free today.
Welcome back. Kicking off in just a moment, Chinatown Pride, a celebration of queer history in the neighborhood.
And despite funding cuts and financial challenges, organizers tell me it is here to stay, but they need the community's help. And here's a look at what went into putting it on this year.
We have a silent disco runway, and this is also the end. Oh yeah, basically entirety of the program site, so outdoor and but also indoor.
YYU and the team at the Chinese Culture Center are hard at work getting ready for Chinatown Pride 2025.
It's a powerful event that transforms San Francisco Chinatown neighborhood.
With the theme "We Are Immortal," the event looks to highlight the LGBTQIA+ community through music, arts, and education, with drag queens leading tours detailing the queer legacy in Chinatown.
This really important celebration will also, recognize this urgent need to continue support and empower our increasingly marginalized queer and trans community and immigrant community.
This comes at a time when CCC San Francisco is dealing with funding cuts, citing how some of the organization's programs are not aligned with the priorities of the current administration. 30% of the organization's funding comes from federal sources, including the National Endowment for Arts and Humanities.
CCC, like any other, nonprofit nationwide, has been heavily impacted by the funding cuts throughout different kind of levels, state, citywide, federal wide. So, as you can see, we're being very creative to explore different revenue generating ideas.
Members of CCC are individually making merchandise to sell at the event. There's also a silent disco fundraiser to cap off the night.
All these different zines.
Even these Demons yearbooks will be on sale, a project that came to life thanks to students from the Bay Area.
It was a challenge for the students to basically talk about the struggles that they're facing internally and to think of a way of using art as a form of storytelling and dealing with those internal struggles, like with mental health, with identity.
How much they raise will dictate whether Chinatown can hold another Pride event in 2026. But for now, the focus is on making this year the best celebration ever.
This event, it's by the community, for the community. It's super inclusive, it's for all. So we hope people show up and here to celebrate with each other and show up for solidarity and resistance in this beautiful day in San Francisco, Chinatown.
And this is happening momentarily?
Momentarily at 6 o'clock. And it's actually a kind of a different Pride celebration where they're going to get a tour of Chinatown and the queer history and legacy that started there. So it's very educational, and people should be having fun, especially to end the night with the silent disco.
And not a bad night for it, too.
Yeah, and you can go out there, Brian, during your dinner break.
Well, we have a newscast to do at 6 o'clock.
Well, okay, we can do that first.
How long does it go?
Huh?
Do you know
6 to 10.
Oh, well, then we do have
so we
time.
do have time.
All right. Let's hope you do, too. That's it for us at 5. We'll see you back here at 6.
And the CBS Weekend News is coming up next. Good night.